Requirements in selecting materials for optical fiber. What are the requirements in selecting materials for optical fiber? It must be possible to make long, thin, flexible fibers from the material. Second point is the material must be transparent at a particular optical wavelength in order for the fiber to guide light efficiently. That is, it should be transparent for a particular optical wavelength. Physically compatible materials that have slightly different refractive index for the core and cladding must be available. So the core material should be of one refractive index and the cladding refractive index should be different. So physically compatible materials must be available. So these are the requirements in selecting materials for optical fiber. And a glass consisting of either silica or silicate. So it is being used. Moderate loss fibers to low loss fibers for long haul applications so are being employed. Plastic fibers are less widely used because they are they have higher attenuation than glass fibers. And plastic fibers are used in short distance applications and in abusive environments. So mechanical strength is an advantage for plastic fibers. And this diagram shows the variation in refractive index as a function of doping concentration in silica glass. Variation in refractive index. Glass is made by fusing mixtures of metal oxides, sulfides or selenites. The resulting material is a randomly connected molecular network. So it is not having a crystalline structure. So randomly connected molecular network. Okay. So it remains hard solid up to several hundred degrees centigrade on heating. So it remains hard. Its melting point is very, very high. That is what. Its melting point is very high. The glass gradually begins to soften until at very high temperatures it becomes a viscous liquid, which is called the melting temperature. And the most common is used fiber material is silica, which has a refractive index ranging from 1.5458 at 850 nanometer to 1.4444 at 1550 nanometer. And for dopant materials like fluorine or oxides such as B2O3, GeO2, P2O5 are added to the silica to produce two dissimilar materials for core and cladding. Okay. So examples of fiber compositions are GeO2 SiO2 core, SiO2 cladding, P2O5 SiO2 core, SiO2 cladding, SiO2 core, P2O3 SiO2 cladding. Like that we can have different fiber compositions. And raw material for silica is high purity sand. Glass composed of pure silica is referred to as either silica glass, fused silica or vitreous silica. Melting temperature is 1000 degrees Celsius. High resistance to breakage from thermal shock because of its low thermal expansion, good chemical durability and high transparency. Coming to the active glass fibers, incorporating rare earth elements with atomic numbers 57 to 71, normally passive glass gives the resulting material new optical and magnetic properties. So new optical and magnetic properties are being added, so such as amplification, attenuation, phase retardation. So these new properties are getting added through this addition of dopants. Doping can be carried out for silica, telluride and halide glasses. Two commonly used doping materials are erbium and neodymium. The ionic concentration of the rare earth elements are low to avoid clustering effects. And to make use of the absorption and fluorescence spectra of these materials, one can use an optical source that emits at absorption wavelength of the doping material. So the optical source wavelength can be matched to the absorption wavelength of the doping material to achieve better efficiency. And coming to the plastic optical fiber, POF, that is plastic optical fiber, stands for POF fiber, and the core of this fiber is either polymethyl methacrylate or perfluorinated polymer, PMMA POF and POF. Okay, so they exhibit considerably greater optical signal attenuations than glass fibers. They are tough and durable. Okay, the advantages are they are tough and durable. Coupling between similar sized plastic and glass fibers is straightforward with standard optical connectors. So plastic and glass fiber can be connected with normal optical connector itself. Okay. So for plastic fibers, inexpensive plastic injection molding technologies can be used to fabricate connectors, splicers and transceivers. This table shows the sample characteristics of PMMA and PF polymer optical fibers. And coming to the fiber optic fabrication techniques, there are two basic techniques being used, that is vapor phase oxidation process and the direct melt methods. So in the direct melt method, optical fibers are made directly from the molten state of purified components of silicate glasses. In the vapor phase oxidation process, highly pure vapors of metal halides, example SiCl4 and GeCl4, react with oxygen to form a white powder of SiO2 particles. And these particles are then collected on the surface of a bulk glass by one of four different commonly used processes. Four processes are being currently used and are sintered. That is, sintered means transformed to a homogeneous glass mass by heating without melting. Heating without melting process is called sintering. And the rod, the tube of silica formed is called the preform. So the first method is always preform formation or glass rod formation. So it is typically around 10 to 25 millimeter diameter and 60 to 120 centimeter long. Fibers are made from the preform. From the preform, fibers are being made. This diagram shows the fiber drawing apparatus. So precision feed mechanism, clamp, preform is fixed here, and the fiber drawing apparatus is there. Fiber drawing apparatus there. This take up drum rotates so that the fiber drawing thickness can be controlled. Okay. So elastic coating, if you want coating to be applied to, then elastic coating applicator, coated fiber, take up drum. So the speed of the drum decides the thickness of the fiber. So that is given in this notes. And some of the process are outside vapor phase oxidation. So soot, preform cross section, preform sintering, and fiber drawing apparatus. Once this SiO2, that is preform is being, this is once the preform is formed, then we can draw the fiber from the preform. So this is outside vapor phase oxidation. Outside vapor phase oxidation. So here the SiO2 rod is formed. So a layer of SiO2 particles called a soot is deposited from a banner onto a rotating graphite or ceramic mandrel. So SiO2 particles are called soot is deposited onto a rotating graphite. So this is the rotating graphite, and SiO2 particles are being deposited. So that is, this process is called outside vapor phase oxidation, and another one is vapor phase axial deposition. So in this process, SiO2 particles are formed in the same way, but here emerges, they are deposited onto the end surface of a silica glass rod which acts as the seed. This rod is continuously rotated. So the rod is continuously rotated to maintain cylindrical symmetry of the particle. So once this preform is formed, then from the fiber drawing apparatus we can draw the optic fiber. And so there are some advantages offered as no central hold, and the preform can be fabricated in continuous length in this process, and clean environment, achievement of clean environment. And third method is modified chemical vapor deposition. So here there is SiO2 vapor or deposited. Okay. So the modified chemical vapor deposition, this process is called modified chemical vapor deposition. So the glass vapor particles arising from the reaction of constituent metal halide gases and oxygen flow through the inside of the revolving silica tube. So here the gas mixture is flow through the inside of the glass tube. Okay. So as the SiO2 particles are deposited, they are sintered to a glass layer by an oxyhydrogen torch. So here an oxyhydrogen torch is used for sintering. Okay. And the desired thickness of glass has been deposited, then the vapor flow is shut off. Then again the optic fibers are drawn. From this. Then another one is plasma activated chemical vapor decomposition. So here instead of the oxyflame torch, here we are using the chemical reaction for the deposition. Okay, so the SiCl4 plus O2 plus dopant. So here the PCVD method is similar to MCVD process. Deposition occurs within the silicon tube. A non-isothermal microwave plasma operating at low pressure initiates the chemical reaction. So this is the difference. So there is no soot formation, there is no sintering is required in this process. Another one is photonic crystal fiber fabrication. So here PCFs are optical fibers that employs a microstructure. Here you look at this, a microstructure arrangement of material in background material of different refractive index is there. Okay, so microstructured arrangement is being formed. So the preform is made by means of an array of hollow capillary silica tubes. So there are hollow capillary silica tubes. To make a preform for an index guiding fibers, the capillary tubes first are bundled in an array around a solid silica rod. For a photonic band gap fiber, the hollow core is established by leaving an empty space at the center of the array. Following the array stacking process, these configurations are fused together to create a preform and then made into a fiber using a conventional optical fiber drawing tower. Okay. So these are the things. For these fiber types, the preform is made by an extrusion process. Okay. So extrusion process means a glass disc is heated until it is soft and then is pressed through a die. So that is called the extrusion process. And coming to the fiber optic, so these are the fiber fabrication techniques. And the next topic is fiber optic cables. So coming to the fiber optic cables, so it has to be drawn underground or direct buried into the ground, or it can be inside a duct or installed in outdoor poles or submerged under water. Okay. So the objectives of the cable manufacturers that the optical fibers should be installable within the same equipment, installation techniques and precautions as that used for conventional wire cables. Whatever methods we are using for conventional wire cables, that should be applicable to the optic fiber cables also. Okay. So that is the thing. And coming to the cable structures, one of the four more important mechanical properties is that the maximum allowable axial load on the cable. So this is the thing, maximum allowable axial load on the cable. In copper cables, elongation of 20% are possible without pressure, but this much is not possible in the case of optic fiber cable. Only 4% elongation is possible, and for good quality optical fibers, only 0.5 to 1% elongation is allowed. Okay, so that is the thing which I have explained here. And good fabrication practices will isolate the fibers from other cable components, keep them close to the neutral axis of the cable, and allows the fibers to move freely when the cable is flexed or stretched. So there are two types of basic structure. There are 6 basic fiber building blocks. What are the fiber building blocks? Outer sheath, yarn strength member, buffered strength member, paper plastic binding tape, basic fiber building block, insulating copper conductors, polyurethane PVC jacket. So these are the fiber building blocks. Construction of a simplex tight, there are two types of arrangement. That one is simplex tight buffered fiber cable module and loose packed arrangement. So here is tight buffered fiber cable, glass fiber with cladding, fiber coating, fiber buffer, yarn strength member and outer cable jacket. Okay, so another one is, as I said, it is loosely packed fiber. So this is loose type fiber optic cable. So this that has a protective steel armoring layer inside the jacket. Okay, loosely packed. Okay, so this is the thing. Then fiber ribbon structure is also allowed. So fiber ribbon structure. Indoor cable design. So this is indoor single mode, multi mode fibers are there, and there is a breakout or fan out cable, 12 tight buffered buffers. So different types of cables are there. Outdoor cables. For outdoor cables, we have the central strength member, loose tube structure, wrapping and binding tapes, corrugated steel tape, water blocking compound. These are the components of an armored outdoor fiber optic cable. Okay, aerial cable is there, armored cable, underwater cable. Thank you. So these are the different cable structures. Thank you.